Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. It is almost the end of summer and it is about time to harvest my squash garden. This is the first time that I've grown a squash garden, did not have any experience doing this, didn't know what kind of trellis to use, and now I'm about to harvest it, so I had to learn a little bit about how to do that. I planted these in May of 2023 and they take about 85 to 100 days before you can harvest. And when we go out there, I'll tell you some of the other signs that you can look for when harvesting winter squash, and because there's some steps in between that you have to take into consideration. I will meet you out there and we'll get to this. A couple of things I want to mention. I am bringing gloves because these stems are pretty much sharp. We want to be careful of just the sharpness on the stems. I'm also going to be getting shears because I don't want to use a kitchen knife, so I think I'm gonna bring this saw just in case. I don't have, oh wait, I can try. I'm gonna try these. Well, let's get out there. A couple of the other things that I have are 2 plastic bags to put all of the squash in, as well as some soapy water. So this soapy water will kill squash bugs, and that's one of the reasons why we are harvesting this now, is because I've just noticed an abundance of squash bugs starting to harm the garden, and before they get to the fruits, I want to harvest them. Plus it's been 85 to 100 days already. We're gonna harvest. This is our squash garden. My friend Dave and I made a stick branch trellis so that this squash can grow up and have a place to vine up. The bees are enjoying the flowers and the marigolds that are there, so we're not going to be touching those. But all of those finished fruits are definitely going to be harvested today, and we might even find some squash bugs in here. Okay, one of the first things you want to do is make sure the squash is a deep yellow. Say this one right here. This one is deep yellow in color. Another thing you want to look out for is the fact that the greens on the vine are starting to like wither and turn brown. Oh, and I saw some squash bugs. So this soapy water actually kills the squash bugs on contact. You want to cut them 1 or 2 inches above the stem. You want to make sure they're hard. You also want to make sure you can't puncture your nail in it. This is not breaking the skin, so this one is ready. And again, I'm going to be leaving all of the flowers here until the winter, just so the bees can continue to pollinate and do their thing. And some of the flowers might even still become squash. It depends on when we have our first frost. Here in West Tennessee, the lows are going to be in the 50s starting later this week, and we don't want them to die because of the frost, so I'm trying to do this before that happens. We've got 1 squash in our bag. I'm coming around to the other side because that's where there's 5 of them over here. Okay, this one is also done. All right, and here you be. Deep yellow. We could even try the thumbnail test. It's not puncturing the skin. The stem is hard and of course prickly. So that's why we're wearing the gloves. Get another one. These are dead and dry, so that's how you know that it's done. Also, if you tap it and it's hollow, that's also a sign that it's done. Deep yellow, hard stem, can't puncture the skin. Hollow sounding. I punctured that, but I pushed too hard. For the most part, it can't puncture. Hollow sounding. There's a big long one in here. I'm gonna go in and get it. This one is huge. Deep yellow, hard stem, hollow sounding. I'm trying to puncture it. It's trying to puncture. Maybe this has a little bit left to go, but this is one of the ones that started first, so I trust that it's done. We've got 5 there. Now I want to show you one that is not quite done. I'll show you a couple that is not quite done. So these squash bugs will keep coming back if you do not kill them. They are a nuisance to your garden. Again, you want to use soap and water in a spray bottle. You could spray the eggs. For the most part, you do want to get rid of the eggs, but I wanted to harvest these squash before the bugs had a chance to get to them. Now I'm going to show you a couple more. Here's another one that's not quite done. It's a little less yellow. That one under there that I was showing you is less yellow, so it does have a little bit more time. These down here, one is yellow and one is really tiny, and it's that rich yellow that we want when we harvest it. So I'm gonna check to see if that little one is ready to come out of there. Okay, we've got the dead dry stuff coming off of it. It's got a hard stem. It's deep yellow. It will not puncture. And I can't tell if it's hollow or not, but we are going to harvest this one. During this harvest, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to start putting them in here. We're still not done. There's another step that we have to do. Let's collect our tools and get to doing the next step. That all of the ripe fruit is off of here. I'm just going to leave all of those marigolds for the pollinators, so butterflies, bees, other insects that pollinate on them. I'm not going to be cleaning it up until they actually die. Hopefully some of the other flowers of the squash plant will take, and if they don't, that's okay too. If you could see right here, there is a lot of dead branches going on, and to me that's the squash bugs at work, but it's also the case that once they're ripe enough to harvest, they do turn brown and die on the stem. I'm gonna put my tools away real quick just so I don't have to carry these around. I will hang those up later. We are in my small bedroom in the mobile home. I am using this room as a greenhouse for the winter and for seed starting for each spring. So along with this being the greenhouse, I'm going to be curing those squash in here. Now, one of the things I do want to mention is that it is supposed to be dark, but hot. So I don't want to keep them outside because it has been hitting 50 degrees, but we're gonna keep them in here, and I'm just gonna cover them up with a towel. Hopefully that works. I'll probably just put them on that box right there. And we are going to wait 7 to 10 days before we check on them. Here are the squash that I just harvested. I got a good 7 out of the, I want to say 6 plants that I planted in May. There's probably going to be more, and there's probably more that died because when you use that soapy water, especially on the flowers, they die too, so you want to try not to get the flowers when you're spraying the squash bugs with soapy water. Now, because it's so bright in here, I'm probably just going to add a towel over these. It is, I think, 80 in my house right now. If I did want to put on the air, I have it set to 75, so that should be good enough for these to start curing. And again, you want to wait 7 to 14 days before we cook with them or do anything with them. Now that we are waiting for our squash to cure, I'm going to go through the steps again on what you want to make sure they look like when you harvest them. So, number 1, make sure it is a richer, darker yellow, not so much the lighter yellow. Number 2, you want to make sure it's dull and not shiny. Number 3, you want to tap on it and make sure that it sounds hollow. Number 4, you want to make sure that the stem is dry, dead, and hard. Number 5, you want to make sure to cut it 1 inch to 2 inches above the fruit. Number 6, you want to handle the fruit by the bottom rather than the stem. Number 7, if you can put your thumbnail in it, if you can puncture the skin, that's not ripe. If you cannot puncture the skin, that's when you can harvest it. Number 8, when the foliage and the leaves on the vine of the plant start to become dead and dry and start to just fall apart, that is another sign for you to harvest your winter squash. We're going to be letting that cure for 7 to 14 days. I'm not going to wait that long. I'm just going to finish the video now. I don't even know what I'm going to make with it, so I've got to look up some recipes. This is the first time I've grown squash, so I gotta do some work with all that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and click the notifications bell so you could receive a notification every time I post a new video, which is every Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. It's becoming the fall in about a couple weeks. It'll be September 21st, first day of, don't put any of this,